It was one of those moments where time slows down, just for a second. The slap of the plastic lid hitting the floor echoed louder than expected. A sharp, cold splash against the concrete. A whole large iced coffee, gone in an instant, painting a brown puddle right in the middle of the lab building's entrance. My entrance, my caffeine, gone. And I just stood there, for a beat, staring at it like it had personally betrayed me. Fuck me, I muttered under my breath. It had been a long day already, the kind that starts blurry and stays that way. I was 35, working in a demanding lab environment, and I'd been hanging by a thread all morning, just waiting for that one thing to pull me back into focus. That iced coffee was supposed to be it, my lifeline. I sighed, turned, and headed for the bathroom to grab paper towels. I wasn't panicked, just resigned. These things happen. I've been a grown adult long enough to know. Sometimes the coffee just spills. A friend from my lab, 24, kind, sharp, had seen it happen and immediately darted off too, without a word, to help me clean it up. We both knew the drill. You clean up your mess. You do it quietly, with a little humility, with a little humor. No big deal. But then came the voice. OP, you need to clean that up. It was loud, condescending, echoing down a hallway of private offices. I turned my head slightly to the side. It was her, a woman from another lab, mid-50s, leaving for the day. Not my boss, not my supervisor, not involved. Just there, and very loud. I blinked, raised an eyebrow, and kept walking. I was already doing what needed to be done. But then, again, OP, come back and clean this up right now. This time, her voice was closer, her tone sharper, like I was a child in a kindergarten class who'd thrown paint on the walls and tried to run. And something in me snapped. I turned around, half laughing in disbelief, and said, "With fucking what, Kim? Did you want me to plop down and sit on it? I'm getting paper towels." She didn't even flinch. She fired back, "Oh yeah? Well, you better be." And I didn't even let her finish. "BYEEE!" I shouted, waving my hand with all the dismissive flair I could summon, like I was tossing a diva out of a nightclub. "BYEEE!" With every syllable dripping in sarcasm and fire. It was loud, it was petty, and it felt kind of incredible. Just then, my friend popped out of the hallway with a wad of paper towels in her hand. She took one look at my face and asked, "What the fuck is her problem?" I told her. She laughed. Hard. "Wild behavior," she said. And yeah, it was. But as we mopped up the mess together, knees slightly bent over sticky ice and splattered cream, I felt it creeping in. That sinking embarrassment. That shame that comes in the quiet after the adrenaline wears off. Because the truth is, I don't usually snap like that. Especially not at work. Especially not at someone older. But something about the way she spoke to me, like I was nothing. Like I needed to be corrected. Like I was just another boy who hadn't cleaned up his toys. It hit something deep. And maybe it wasn't just about the coffee. Maybe it was about every time someone had assumed I wasn't trying, that I didn't care, that I wasn't already doing my best. It's wild how fast the world judges intent. To Kim, I was just a careless guy walking away from a mess. In reality, I was already on my way to fix it. I just hadn't moved fast enough for her standards, and instead of pausing for 1 second, just one, to observe or ask or even offer help, she chose to scold, like I was 7. That's the part that stung the most. It wasn't about the coffee. It wasn't about the floor. It was about being yelled at in a hallway like a screw-up, and I felt that sting in my chest for the rest of the day. Because the truth is, I don't want to be the guy yelling back. I don't want to be the one who gets snippy, who says things he regrets, who waves off people with theatrical sarcasm. But in that moment, I didn't feel like a person deserving of dignity. I felt like a target, and I reacted. I've replayed it a few times in my head, wondering if I could have said something calmer, more grounded, something like, "Hey, I'm already getting towels." Something reasonable, adult, professional. But I know deep down, she wasn't looking for a conversation. She was looking for a moment of control, a moment to feel bigger than someone else. And I gave her that moment, but not the way she wanted. I know some people will say I should have been the bigger person, that I should have taken the high road. That yelling "BYEEE" in a sing-song voice is immature. Maybe it was. But there's a part of me that still believes. Sometimes, people like that need to be reminded that grown adults don't need public lectures. We need respect, even when we mess up. Especially then. And honestly, I've worked hard to earn that respect. I'm not perfect, but I take responsibility. I clean up my own spills. I show up for people. So when someone comes at me with pure condescension, I don't always have it in me to turn the other cheek. After it all, I tried to laugh it off with my friend. She was kind about it, said I handled it better than most would have, called it wild behavior on Kim's part. And yet, I couldn't shake that tiny knot of guilt in my stomach. Not because I think I was wrong, but because I hate being pulled out of character by someone else's pettiness. I hate being forced into a moment where I have to choose between dignity and defense. But in the end, maybe that's what makes this whole thing complicated. Because sometimes doing the right thing doesn't mean staying silent. Sometimes it means drawing a line in the sand, even if you have to shout "BYEEE" while you do it. So, am I the asshole? You know, there's a strange thing that happens in the workplace. We're all grown adults, educated, experienced, capable, and yet, the moment a mess appears, some people revert to playground dynamics. Who's in charge? Who gets to scold? Who gets to walk away clean? What I see in this story is more than a spilled coffee and a snappy comeback. It's about dignity, about the right to be treated like a human being, even in moments of failure. Especially then, it's also about boundaries. Because sometimes, you have to speak louder than the person trying to humiliate you. Not to escalate, but to reclaim your space. To say, "I see your performance, and I choose not to participate." The truth is, we all spill our coffee. We all have those moments. But what defines us isn't how quickly we clean it up. It's how we treat each other in the aftermath. So, here's my question for you watching right now. Have you ever been unfairly called out while you were already doing the right thing? Or have you been the one who judged too quickly? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say isn't sorry. It's bye.